bucks have fed. It's time for the old guys to get it done. We're a little bit lighter now, 2 less bodies. The water level's lower, but see how it goes with 2 guys. It already feels like it's a lot better. So we are set up in Cody's stand and got in a little later this morning because the river's getting low and we wanted to come in so we could watch where we're going. Got in the stand about 7 and yeah, just had a buck walk down the opposite ridge on the other side of the draw over there. Looked like a halfway decent 8. I had just rattled prior to that, so I don't know if that's what got him coming down or what, but let's see if we can get that big 9 that Cody passed, and he said there's a 10 around here too, so I think that's the goal. That was fun. That opposite ridge, I was seeing a deer again. I was watching it, a small buck, and all of a sudden I seen a bigger deer. So I decided to rattle, and yeah, a smallish 8-point crossed the ravine, came behind me, disappeared over that rise, and then a small 5-point came. I got her on video, or him on video. And he walked off the ridge, and all of a sudden I looked down, and that 8 had come right back, walked right in front of me, 20 yards. And now he's heading back up, kind of into the field over there. So Cody's spot is still producing nothing but bucks. Pretty cool. Oh man, the spot of Cody's turned out to be amazing. That was a little tougher to pass. He came right in past 10-15 yards, and the thing that I'm noticing is with these deer over here, they're completely oblivious. I mean, they're on this little ridge above me, same level within 20 yards. On the other side over there, I think they've been hunted, because that wouldn't fly over there. If they were at 20 yards on the same level, they'd at least look at me. They're not even looking up. I think that's why Killer Ridge was such a bust this year. Yeah, I think it's been getting hunted pretty hard. So This is pretty cool, getting good footage. That was a tough pass, but I know there's a 9 around here, and Cody says a 10, so that's what we're going for. Day 5, back in Buckfight Ridge. Cody's stand, and haven't been in the stand too long. A small buck come behind me, heavy searching mode. Hoping that means I got a hot doe in the area that could really make things good. Joe and Drew are set up on the backup spot, and apparently they got a big one by them. So off to a good start. It's going to be a warm day today. But we'll see how it goes. We figure the mornings will be good. Not so sure we'll do all day sits today, depending on the action. So I just had another buck come by. I have a feeling that deer that I bumped this morning was a doe, because both bucks pretty much sniffed around and followed where that deer ran. So hopefully it's a hot doe, and hopefully I didn't spook it off too far, or it gets bumped back here. But yeah, just like usual, plenty of bucks in the morning, just waiting for one big enough to shoot. It's a warm morning. I've only seen a few deer, but we got the boys' bucks caped out, and Drew's gonna do a mountain, and Cody's gonna do a European. So we got that kind of cleaned up. Gotta get the back carved out to get the brain cavity out. But I'm just gonna let that hang for now. Perfect form. Cody chilling. Drew just kind of doing what Drew does. We have a campfire. It's a fire.
Fire. Fire, Ricky. Come on,
I'm back in Buckfight Ridge, and I got company with me today. He's gonna be running camera, and maybe we can get something down and on camera today. So it's gonna be a warm one, in the upper 60s, I think, at least. But there's a cold front coming through, rain, and so we're hoping that that front will give us some good action. So a little bit before 8 o'clock, we actually had a pretty nice buck cruising down on the bottom below us, right at the cliff edge. And yeah, we tried buck grunts, that didn't even stop him. And then we gave him a doe bleed, and that actually stopped him and made him turn. Almost looked like he was going to come back up. He stood there for a while. kind of acted nervous. Started going again, wasn't paying any attention, so I gave him some light rattling, and he actually ran away back where he came from. So it's a decent buck. We got some pretty good footage of him. I'm gonna get on this bluff and see if Drew's down there, because he was supposed to drop off Joe's stand, go get his sticks, maybe hunt there, and then we were going to coordinate what time he would pick us up, and we haven't heard from him. So we have no idea where he's at, but the minute we drop down into this river bottom, we can't communicate. So we don't see him yet, but I have a view. Yeah, he's in the boat, sleeping. Didn't listen to the plans, but that's all right. We got it figured out.
My boy, you got a pretty mouth.
Yeah, Bubba, I think we can get us some of that. Did you have a nice nap?
Yeah, it was nice until two jackasses showed up.
So the cold front moved through, and yeah, we're hoping that changes things. I mean, when we first got here, of course, we had that cold front rain come through, and the first 2 days after that were just, the deer were exploding. We're kind of hoping that does the same thing, you know, since we hit the 70s the last 2 days. Now the cold front and some rain, and tomorrow's gonna be cold. And Saturday is gonna be cold. But hoping that's what the doctor ordered for getting these deer back moving again, and having Joe and I fill our tags and complete this thing. So what a difference a day makes. 70 degrees yesterday, and it's gonna hit as low as 26 this morning with a high of 35. Had rain, everything's frozen. Our seats and tree stands all frozen. 18-mile-an-hour winds. But it's cold front, so it's gotta be good, right? It's so cold, I got a cold warning, or cold battery warning on the GoPro. Cody's hanging in there, I think. At least the sun's a little warm, but it's windy and it's cold. All we've seen some morning, all we've seen this morning is turkeys. So we are vacating Buckfight Ridge. That spot, I think, is given everything it's going to give. And we're going to spend the last day and a half either on what we call spot one, which was our backup spot. And honestly, I'm still tempted to hunt the bottom. Yeah. And set up on a cliff over top those runways and scrapes that are all down there. I want to see what the wind is like. Yeah. Down there, you know, when we get up, and see if the wind would be halfway decent. Because if it's the thing that's coming from northwest, but what we learned is down at the bottom, it's probably going to go back up. And if that's the case, if we're sitting down in the bottom on a cliff face, our scent's going to be blowing uphill. Anything coming through the bottom, but I don't know. We'll see. We're gonna try something totally different. We're gonna hunt the river bottom tonight and do a cliff set. Wind's coming straight down the river, and this is the river bottom. We got all these cliffs. We're gonna find a spot where we can just crawl up on there and cover the bottom and hope we get some cruising bucks. There's a lot of scrapes and pretty heavy trails down here. So, in fact, there's a couple right there. So yeah, this is our perch. I'm gonna put myself here. We got what, probably about a 30-foot drop, and we got a great view out that way to see anything coming. The wind is from the northwest, but it's coming through the valley and it's funneling this way. We actually parked the boat down that way so that we could creep in, because it really pinches down there. The only deer that are going to come from that way is if they come off some of these gullies. There's not many, or they come from across the river. So our goal is that they come from that way. We see them coming, and should be pretty close to a slam dunk shot unless they're all the way by the river. But we'll see. Well, this is it. The last morning, the last day. It's gonna happen. It's gotta happen today. We got set up in our backup spot. It's the last stand we have sitting. And right at first light, we did have a buck moving through on the opposite ridge. Looked like a smaller buck, but man, we got snow. Seen one buck crossing the field a little bit later this morning. That's been about it. It's gonna be sub-freezing all day long, and I don't know, maybe the snow will get them moving again. Well, that was fun. We had another buck come in the field over here, and he was just feeding relaxed. He wasn't really responding to grunts or doe bleats. He got past us and he started heading away, and we hit him with a snort wheeze. He turned around, came right back to the fence, made a scrape, came closer to the fence, made a licking branch, and we thought for sure he was going to jump the fence. He was 40 yards away, come right at us, and then the wind shifted and went right at him. And I think he wasn't real alarmed, but at that point he knew something was there, and he turned around and just moseyed off. So it's $3, but just need to get a little bit closer. Wow, this is it. The last hurrah, the final evening. It's now or never. So we're up in the last, or the backup spot. Got a decoy set out in front of us, and hoping that maybe if someone's out in the field, and we get them to the edge like we did this morning, maybe if it sees something, they'll come in and commit. But otherwise, we're just still hoping for cruising bucks. We got about 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and that's going to be all she wrote for Iowa 2022. I think 2:45. I've first seen a doe and a fawn, and then a second doe. Those are the first does I've seen since Monday. It is Saturday. What's crazy is they were like, our wind's blowing right their direction. They're probably 150 yards away, and I'm guessing she smelled us. We've been hunting for a week. We've washed our clothes a little bit, but I'm sure we stink. Well, we got 30 minutes left in the season, and unless something happens real quick, which it always can, looks like for me Iowa is going to be a dud, but it was a good time. I think I was just in the wrong spot when the 2 hot days were going on, and that's where most of the opportunities came from. Then I think we hit lockdown, honestly, plus the hot weather, who knows. But after those 2, maybe 3 days, it got pretty slow. Even with these cold fronts, or even with the cold last couple of days. But it is what it is. It was a great time.